today and go a bit Bollywood today and be a bit नहीं मुझे प्यार हो गया मुझे शादी करनी है मुझे नई शादी करनी है मुझे आशीर्वाद दे दे मम्मी डैडी something like that. But yeah, looking forward to the Barbers opening. So let's start off with my usual public service announcement. It's all fun and entertainment, bit of a laugh, not here to offend. If you're easily offended or you're one of those that are gonna cry about something that I'm gonna say, then But generally, I don't offend anybody. I am very cautious and very careful and very considerate, the 3 C's, with what I say, who I say, and what I say, and when I say, and how I say. Who, what, why, when, how. Woo! Woo! Limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun, that kiss the girls and make them cry. Today has been brought to you by KFC of pre-workout. We've made it. It's the last weekend of the month, the last weekend in February. Can we believe it? The year seems to be going quite fast. I mean, we're already in February. 2 months down, just over 300 days left in this year. And what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do with it? And how are you going to make the most out of it? Obviously, Boris made his announcement this week, and 8th of March is going to be the beginning of potentially coming out of lockdown in a phased way. Gyms should be opening. Impromptu pulls down. Big Papa Pump, holla if you hear me. Sorry, too many wrestling references today, and a lot of a bit of a Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan hairstyle going on. But yeah, the pathway out of lockdown has been potentially set in motion. Provided that's things are adhered to, and the numbers and the data, and so things like people getting the vaccination. The numbers going down, hospitals not being overcrowded. But, fingers crossed we all come out of this on the other side. It's really difficult when I talk to not just young people, but adults and business owners and everybody in general about the lockdown, because for once, this is one topic where I don't really like giving my personal opinion on, because my personal opinion is mine and I can shove it up my nose, or I can shove it up somewhere else, basically, and that's my problem. But like in a professional, semi-professional environment, or being an influencer and all that kind of stuff, it's like I genuinely don't have the answer for some things. So for example, some people say, Ash, why can't I go to the gym, or why can't we do a one-to-one in the studio or whatever, but I can go to the supermarket and there's 100 people over there, or why can I go and get a takeaway, but I can't go into a certain, why can I go one in, one out, like in a pharmacy, but I can't do one in, one out in a hairdresser or a barber? It's just one of those things, unfortunately, it is what it is. And you know what? The best thing you can do is make the best thing out of the scenario that you're in. So, instead of whinging, complaining, being negative, do the best that you can, be the best that you can. So smile, communicate, try and be healthy, get some fresh air, etc. I mean, the good thing is, the time between sunrise and sunset is actually reaching 12 hours. I mean, like sunrise, getting light is about 5:30, 5:45, and the time it starts getting dark now is about 5:30, 5:45 p.m. So it's nice, the days are getting longer. Hopefully we'll get out. It's nice to see a lot more people outside, getting some fresh air, etc. So that's been really good. In other news, schools going back March the 8th. Is it a good idea? Is it not so good idea? I mean, what people have got to remember is a lot of people have still been attending school or going to school for work because, well, basically, key workers and all that kind of stuff. But, if I was up to me, if I had if I had Boris's job, and one of the things I was doing was the education, it would be a staggered start. But you know what? I'd probably hold it off till Easter, because the way I'm looking at it is, you know, you're going back into school. It's a staggered start. Primary schools first, then secondary schools. I don't know how they're going to do it. Maybe year group by year group, or bubbles or whatever. I don't think it's going to be as simple as people think. I think there's going to be a lot of COVID testings in school. So I think you're going to see a lot of that probably all the way through till summer, and maybe even through till the new term 21-22 from September onwards, potentially still happening then. Some young people are going to enjoy it. Some people are going to find it a challenge. Some teachers are going to enjoy it. Some teachers are going to find it a challenge. I just think that it's quite close to Easter, and maybe would it not be better just to have that little bit of a break, and then go back with that staggered start? I mean, I've always said, I mean, for those of you that know, I have worked in primary schools, secondary schools, colleges and universities, believe it or not. Hashtag no lie. Lost my train of thought. Yeah, holidays, half terms, all that kind of stuff. I've always kind of said for probably about the 8 years, I think this Christmas holidays should be a bit longer, and the summer holidays a little bit shorter, and scrap the 1 week half terms. Every half term should be at least minimum 2 weeks, because it gives teachers a break, plan, prep, mark, recover, party, whatever. Same for kids, and you know, for parents as well, or guardians, to go away and do something instead of rushing everything. And plus, winter always sees, you know, a rise in cold, flu, illnesses, absences from pupils, absences from staff. So and I mean, the last couple of Christmases, like people have done their well, not last Christmas I gave you. Ow! It's not Michael Jackson, it's George Michael. But you see what I did there? George Michael Jackson. But yeah, just having that little bit of extra leeway to go do your Christmas shopping and actually enjoy it. But you know, I think we've all kind of reached our limit with the lockdown and all that kind of quarantining and all that kind of stuff. But what a year a difference makes. It was literally only this time last year, 12 months ago, I myself was at the Trafford Centre hosting a live event, the Asian Lifestyle Expo at the Intu Trafford Centre on the Orient, on the big stage and the screen. And if you just think back to last year, this time last year, we kind of heard about this virus. It was in China, it was miles away, we weren't really worried about it. And literally within 1 month, so this time next month will kind of mark the 12 months of lockdown and quarantining and all that. And just think about all the feelings and anxieties and how people's perceptions have changed, and you know, all that kind of stuff. So the only thing I'm going to say with what a difference a year makes is, you know, we've all had a bit of a rocky start to the year. We've done January, we've done February, the start of March this year, this week, the third month of the year. If you haven't already done so, or you already have, make some goals, set some targets, aim for your dreams and beyond, revisit them New Year's resolutions if you made them. Don't stress too much about the gym, because literally it's just over a month till they open. Some people have been asking me, what am I doing with the gym? I have not been secretly visiting any gyms, even though some naughty people have been open. I've literally just been working out at home, and even that I've not been super regimented, in the sense of, I don't know, week 1 of this year, maybe I trained 4 times, or week 2 was maybe 3, and it's always varied between 2 and 5 days worth of training. But over 5 days, I'm probably hitting about 60 miles walking. I have leaned out a little bit. My abs have come in. So if you look, there's no stomach. It's all loose. It's gone flat. Oh, it's going to be my chest is further than my abs. So that's good. But you know, I'm not going to stress about it, because you know, for those of you that fasting's coming up as well on around April the 12th. I mean, it makes you think, did Boris just put them dates together? But if he did, it is what it is. I don't train when it's fasting or while I fast. I know there's some people out there that do, and you know, good for them and all that kind of stuff. But everybody's goal is different. And personally, I can't see myself getting much bigger, much faster, much stronger while I'm fasting. Plus, you know, I'd rather just concentrate on what I'm meant to be doing, which is fasting and detoxing and mindset and mind and soul and all my infinity stones on my imaginary gauntlet that I'm wearing, because we all know where the fifth stone is. It's not with Thanos. Thanos के पास stone नहीं है. Iron Man के पास stone नहीं है. सलमान के पास है. समझ गया? इसका bracelet. That is the fifth stone. I don't have it. But little Bollywood joke there. If you're a Salman fan, you'll know what I'm. Oh, Jana. You'll know what I'm talking about there. But I'm going to be saying it. And I really do promise you that after this week coming, which will be the 5th week, I'm going to stop watching this. But guilty pleasure / hashtag Trash TV, Married at First Sight Australia. Oh my God, this week, the episode I watched yesterday, it made me anxious, it made me angry, it made me frustrated, it made me want to start doing like a Hulkamania, it made me want to rip the door off its hinges, and it just made me want to, it wound me up so much. And the person that wound me up the most, Jess and Martha. So, in a nutshell, if you're a viewer of Married at First Sight, you'll know who I'm talking about and what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here it is in a nutshell. Married at First Sight, two strangers meet, they have a marriage ceremony, they spend about 6 to 8 weeks together, are they compatible, can they make it work, etc. And then they have like another commitment ceremony, and they basically, you know, they're either going to stay together or they're going to break up. This time, making Married at First Sight history, Jess, who was in a couple with Mick, I think, who was a farmer, who was a proper top decent guy, yeah, she played him because she fancied another guy who was married to another girl. And then basically the program and the experts allowed them to get together. So, I mean, it was dumb because they were like saying, yeah, it's all right, let them get together, it's okay. But basically what's happened is they've had like a reunion this week, and all the past people, whether they're still together in a couple or not, they've all come back. So even the people that are now single, because they didn't stay committed to the experiment for whatever reason, like they weren't compatible, it didn't work, etc., they came back. And Jess, who, I'm not being funny, I think she's probably still about a 20-year-old. She was 20 something when she was in the show. In a nutshell, immature, fake, plastic surgery, Botox, lip fillers, cheek fillers, tattoo, you know, the hair, the eyes, all this kind of stuff. And the guy she ended up copping off with, I mean, they're not together anymore. And apparently she's come on social media now, and there's a point to all this. I'm going to talk about real life on the real show. She's come out saying, you know, she's had addiction problems, and she doesn't understand why people are attacking her on social media and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, this is the world we're living in now. Even if you're not a reality star, even if you're just a normal person, sometimes you can get attacked on social media. But the thing is, if you put yourself on a reality TV program, and this is what happens to a lot of them, you know, I'm sorry to say this, and, you know, this is going to be a bit of a controversial topic I'm talking about, but I do think it needs to be, you know, talked about, because some people have asked me about it, etc. But let's just say you get a reality TV star, they come out of the show, they start making a few quid, they're quite popular, and then it all goes, you know, because basically your popularity goes up. It can only stay there for a certain amount of time, because quite frankly, you've only become popular or famous because of what you did or how you acted or how people think you are. And that only stays for a certain amount of time, with the odd 1 or 2 exceptions, and then it goes down. And what happens is they do struggle, they do get stressed, they do get anxious. And one of the reasons is they're still spending like they're a superstar, and that income's not coming in because, well, they're not hot property anymore. There's another reality TV program on, etc., etc. But I mean, at the end of the day, she's a young woman who is very full of herself. She's had her lips done, she's had her cheeks done, she's had Botox done, she's had her hair done, she's had her chest done. Who knows what else she's had done, or what she's doing, or how many times she's been done. oh my God, did I really say that? I mean, come on, like at the end of the day, if she's copped off with the guy in the program, then what does that say about her character? Yeah, believe that. Damn, wham bam, Jean-Claude Van Damme, I went there, man. Oh, okay, enough of that because it's going all over the show. Seen a couple of friends and they were like, Ash, why don't you have your hair like the old days? So you know what, I've done my best, when I used to have long hair. It's not that bad, I can almost get it in a bit of a pony, but my hair's like quite curly, so what I've done is I've just like blow dried it out and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was my guilty pleasure, #trash TV. I do semi-promise you that next week will be the last time I'm watching it. Big up to Cyril, who told it how it was. And Martha, you know what, I'm going to talk about Martha and then that's it. I can't remember what her guy's called. He's got a name with an M as well. Martha and Martin, or Martha and Mark, or Martha and Matthew, Martha and whoever. But he was a bit of a bulky dukan as well, yeah? Michael. Cyril told it how it was, and I said this from day one, yeah? That, don't get me wrong, they've done quite well for themselves, Martha and Michael, in Australia. They're quite, they're kind of celebrities. They've got their own YouTube, social media, all that kind of stuff. But essentially, what I feel has happened of watching that, and I'll give you the reason why I've come to this conclusion. And basically, I just feel that Martha is, she's presentable. She looks after herself. Seems like she comes from a fairly wealthy background. Mummy, daddy girl, and all daddy's girl, and all that kind of stuff. And Michael's a school teacher, and he was a bulky dukan, which is not a bulky dukan anymore. And I can pretty much almost guarantee she made him cut his hair off, because that's what women do. They make men cut their hair off, and men should grow their hair out like 1980s wrestlers. But basically, what I'm saying is, they met, and Michael was kind of a bit besotted with her. And like in awe of her. She kind of liked him as well. At first she was like, I'm not going to move for you, and if I move I'll get bored and all that kind of stuff. And then literally this week, when he was just impartially, generally chatting to Cyril, Martha went over to him and was like, you're not speaking to her, I don't want to see you speak to her again. They're like proper controlling him. Now, that means, this things is true. You have two of them if you're males. It's it's bit downstairs. That means this is going in the wife's purse and katapping. Katapping meaning wife is keeping this. My wife is keeping this. You gotta be your own man. And I just think, you know what? They were besotted. They fell in love. They wanted to make it. Maybe they did it for their career. But yeah, Martha's another one. Too fake. Fake face, fake attitude. All about the brands, all about the clothes, all about the plastic surgery, the lips, the Botox, the this, the that. I mean, that's another topic for another day. I'm not going to touch that much on Botox and all that kind of stuff. But the reason why my observations were that about Married at First Sight, and I promise you, I'm going to finish this bit in 2 minutes. I used to work in a nightclub. A lot of people know that. I worked in a nightclub for about 3 years. And in that 3 years, I made a lot of observations of human life. Week in, week out, I would see mostly the same people come out. Friend groups, friend circles, relationships, people, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, fiancés, whatever. Go out, get drunk, have a good time. Some fights, some cat fights. I've seen some funky things, but all the while I was there, I'm like, this job isn't forever, and I'm going to make the best out of the situation I'm in. So what I did is I used it as observation, learning things about people. And if you're a young person, I mean, going out and bars and clubs are, this miles away at the minute. Who knows how that's going to work as we're coming out of lockdown. But when you're a bit younger, your perception of going out and nightclubs and all that is like, wow, oh my God, it's going to be like the movies. And yeah, they said they had a good time. Listen, I'm telling you one thing. A lot of the time when people say, oh my God, last week it was amazing. Oh my God, it was so sick. Do you remember what happened last week? Oh my God, I got so drunk. Oh my God, do you remember what she was wearing? I'm telling you now, the majority of people can only remember what they got from the kebab shop, if that. I promise you, you're not missing out on anything super fantastic. You'll probably have a better time having a slumber party, a guys' night in, gaming night, food, movie, chilling at home, barbecue, fire pit in the backyard. Trust me, that is a lot better, a lot more fun. But you know what? It's part of life. It's part of growing up. But you know what? I know some people that have never been to a nightclub, never been to a bar, and it doesn't entice them whatsoever. But please do excuse me. I did say 2 minutes on that topic. I have finished. I'm going to take a little bit of a drink because I think I've gone off for too much on that one. As I always say, H2O to make you go great. All I'm going to say in a nutshell is if you haven't watched Venom with Tom Hardy, watch Upgrade, and that's essentially Venom. Even the guy in Upgrade looks like Tom Hardy. Like if you squint your eyes or you're not watching proper, you'll think it's Tom Hardy. Some fantastic fight scenes. It's about the future, etc. But literally, if you have to compare and contrast two movies together, Venom is Upgrade, Upgrade is Venom. The end. Rocky 4 director's cut is on the way. I'm proper looking forward to it. I mean, if you read the book, loads of scenes in there that didn't make the movie. If you watch the original trailer, I don't know what I'm talking about. I think I need another drink. But if you watch the original trailer, you'll know what scenes were missing from the movie. I mean, I always wanted to see an Apollo Creed training montage, but will we get one or did they film one? Who knows? Also, not too long till we get to the Justice League. And sports talk. Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, finally, I think the month they're going for is June. And it looks like they're tied into a 2-fight deal, which to be honest, I said was going to happen because it's one of them, say whoever wins, the other person loses, rematch clause, etc. Plus 2 fights is always going to make more money than 1 fight. Plus, why not turn it into a trilogy? So you have your match, you have your rematch, and then woo! You have your trilogy. In other news, Josh Kelly, like I was saying last week, if he wins, he could move on to fight, Nigel Benson. He could move on to fight Kell Brook, or even the other name that was thrown around was Amir Khan, our Bolton boy. But look what happened, Josh Kelly. And this is the thing with boxing, I know, yeah, one punch can change everything and all that kind of stuff, but you really got to be in it to win it. You've got to have your head screwed on. You got to make sure nobody does you over, and you got to have a good team, because who's going to look after you outside the ring after you stop fighting and all that kind of stuff. Everybody's there and cheering while you're winning, and you're going to after parties and all that kind of stuff. But where are all them people when there's no after party or things like that? It's one of those things. But yeah, baby. She's a bit dozy, not been too well today, but she's feeling a bit better. Here, stay here if you want, or you can run away if you want. It's up to you. You want that? Good girl. So yeah, there you go. Like I said, sports is one of those things. I think there's a lot more pressure these days, whether it's football, boxing, etc., because a lot of people, they're on social media, and I think, in a nutshell, stress, perception, how it looks to other people, caring about what other people think and all that. I mean, whether people want to admit it or not, people do care to a certain extent how it looks to other people, what it looks like and all that kind of stuff. And I think now, if you're in a training squad, if you're an amateur, if you're turning pro or whatever, you're kind of more susceptible to more criticism, because if you are on social media platforms and you are using it yourself as an athlete, because some athletes, they have handlers for their social media stuff. If you're fortunate to have one of them, they can filter through all the crap and you don't see it, and you only see the good stuff, and the good stuff is always better than the bad stuff. But it's one of those things, criticism, pushing forward, perseverance, resilience, all that kind of stuff, they all go hand in hand, and if you have one of those more than the other, it does help. But it's a part of growing up, and like I said, it's one of them. You just got to keep trying. You got to keep at it. I mean, it's like, you know, I can use football, I can use boxing, I can even use bodybuilding or gains in the gym. I've gone to the gym, I've gone to the gym and my gains not coming, my gains not give up. Look at Usain Bolt. We're going to talk about success and perseverance and resilience here. That is one of the themes for today. But look at Usain Bolt, or Usain Bolt, however you want to say it. He literally trained a lifetime, and for his last lot of Olympics, essentially like a 4-year training camp, if you want to call it that, the lead up to the Olympics, to be able to run 100 meters in that short space of time. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen by chance. If you go back in history and look at Usain Bolt, a lot of his first races and all the things he did, he lost all of them. He was like in last place, but it was like he educated himself, he stayed committed, the strength and conditioning, kept going, kept training and traveling and educating himself and trying and training, and just kept that circle going. And he always said, you know, when it comes to a point where he can't maintain that, and you know, as an athlete, more than often, once you hit your mid-30s, you know, it's kind of game over as an athlete, depending, you know, there's the odd exception. You know, how long did it take him to reach that? And, you know, there's a million examples. And I guess one of my points to this and one of the themes for today is, like, you've got to keep trying and you've got to be willing to take what's coming towards you, and you've got to be willing to push forward. And what do I mean by that? You know, you've heard that saying, when life throws lemons at you, what do you make? You make lemonade. You know what? I know some people genuinely who could absolutely smash it in whatever field of work they're doing, but they don't. You know why? Because when life throws lemons at them, they try to squeeze oranges. They don't even try to, they leave the lemon, they go squeeze oranges. And then they're like, why is this not lemonade? What do you expect? I mean, like, look, you know, when a wife, she wants to have a baby, you have to do some action, and a reaction is 9 months. After 9 months, baby coming out. Yeah? You know, you want a plant, you want a flower, you gotta plant it, you gotta water it, you gotta look after it. There's a process. You know, you want to look after your teeth, you gotta brush them, you gotta floss them, you gotta gargle, etc. You know, everything, there's a process. And like, I mean, there's so many examples I can give you, but the thing is, there is never just one answer. And the time period we're in now and the way things are now proves to us that, you know what, we can look at examples, we can try and do something similar, but it's always good to have a go on your own and try something new. And what do I mean by that? You know, always ask for advice and try and get it from the right places. But don't just ask for one piece of advice. Get all the advice from all the different avenues and areas that you can get them from: parents, friends, family, impartial advice, advice that's not impartial, teachers, trainers, YouTubers. Maybe not so much YouTubers. Actually, yeah, maybe YouTubers, some YouTubers. And then kind of make your own decision. And the thing is, you know, like, for most of us, our parents want us to do well. Our good friends, our good members of the family want us to do well and be successful. But sometimes some of the advice they gives us, like, it doesn't make sense, or it doesn't apply to us, or we kind of not deny it, but there's like friction, you know, we rebel against it. Sometimes it's natural, but sometimes what they don't realize is the time we're in now is different to the time they were in when they were the same age, and they were still good. They were going after dreams and aspirations and goals and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, growing up, you know, going to school, going to college, going to uni was a big thing. Like, I'll be honest, going to uni is still a very big achievement. It can be an advantage, but it's not the be all end all, because, for example, there's more than one way to get to uni. So, you know, majority of the times it's I'll go school, get my good grades, I'll go college, I'll get my good grades, and I'll go straight into uni. But you can get into uni as a mature student. You can get into uni from doing a foundation course. You can get into uni from doing an access course. You might have done an apprenticeship and then gone to uni, or you might have hit the UCAS points quota from doing other various things. You know, I'll give you my example. When I was 15, 16, the only goal I could see was finish school, get out of there, because I completely had enough of it, get to college, reinvent myself, get working in a gym, and within a couple of years I'd be a gym manager, and that was it. That's as far as I could see at 15, 16, which isn't bad. because that's what I liked, that's what I enjoyed, and that was what my stress relief was. Because while other people were wondering about what they were going to do after school and hang around in the park and chat and smoke and whatever, I was chatting to my good friend Riz, that whoever knows me will know Riz, and whoever knows Riz knows me. We'd be talking about what we're going to do in the gym tonight, or if it was a Wednesday, we'd be going to play snooker. If it was a Friday, we'd be going out to eat. We were doing that back then. That was our stress relief, even before stress relief and mental health was a thing. But what I'm trying to say is, the reason why I said that is I thought at that time, school, college, maybe uni, some courses, gym, experience, years, service, and then work up to gym manager. I know a couple of friends. I know one friend in particular. You know what? He left school, next to no GCSEs, no gym instructor, no personal trainer, doesn't even train that well, but his body responds really well to training, looks the part, and good looking guy, smart guy, well spoken. He started off as a leisure attendant, and you know what type of leisure attendant? The one that's in the changing room. Fast forward 6 years later, he's a gym manager. So there you go. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, whatever you want to do, there's always more than one pathway, and sometimes it's like this, going up, sometimes it's up a bit and then you plateau a bit, sometimes it's peaks and troughs, and sometimes you get to the top and you go back down again, and that's fine. But it's about getting back up and having a go again. I mean, like, look at Jason Statham. You can recognize him, like he's not the typical male you'd expect to see now. He's got the rough look, the stubble, he's bald, he's got the male pattern baldness, he's got a good physique. I mean, he was an Olympic diver. There's, if you go on YouTube, type it, Jason Statham, he's got his hair combed back, he's diving. And you know what, believe it or not, the legend goes that he was like a wheeler dealer on the market, selling like knockoff goods and all that. And some guy went past him and was like, I like the way you talk and everything. And he thought, what's wrong with this guy? A bit of a weirdo or something. And lo and behold, it was Guy Ritchie, and the rest is history. I mean, he's best friends with Stallone. He's traveled the world. He's made a life for himself, and people talking about, oh, well, things don't work out for me and it's too hard and I'm not getting a chance and I'm not getting an opportunity. Well, you know what? It's absolutely true what they say. If you don't get an opportunity, or you aren't given an opportunity, make your own opportunity. And I'll give you another real life example that literally the whole world knows this person. So was a bit strange at school, got bullied, bit funny looking, bit mumbling, like that, had a bit of issues, went to college, went to uni, tried to break into media, didn't happen. He constantly got told it's not going to work, you're not going to get a job, started getting little jobs in between, and then he was thinking, well, when's my big break going to be? So he created his own character that has next to no dialogue, that is literally about guess what? It was Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean, multi-millionaire, made a character that the world loves, the world can recognize. You can speak any language, and you know what Mr. Bean's all about, whether you're watching Bean the movie or Mr. Bean's Holiday or one of the Mr. Bean episodes, or even one of the cartoons. I mean, look at that. Who else? I mean, there's so many people. I mean, look at this guy. I mean, look at Robert Downey Jr. I mean, that is, and this ties into my next topic for today, because we're only just over halfway through. We've got plenty of time, and some people have been like, yeah, we know sports, we know TV, we know entertainment, we want a bit more real talk. So what I'd like to do is, give a bit of examples, give a bit of motivation, inspiration, and get you guys to do stuff. I could talk about me, and maybe next week I will talk about me personally, like a little bit about what I've done, where I've come from, where I'm at, where I'd like to be. But I think it's really important to share that energy and work together and be happy and push each other and lift each other up, because we've only got one life. It's not guaranteed. We don't know how long we're going to be here for. We all hope and wish that we reach old age, but even if we do, it's not guaranteed that we're going to be fully able and fully functional. And you know what? We try our best and hope that we do. So what you can do during your time on this journey called life is do your best, be your best, put a smile on. Something bad's happen, put it this way, I'm that type of guy. There's been a lot of times where some bad has gone down, and nobody's been none the wiser at work or with friends or even with family, because you know what? I do this. There's been the odd one or two people that do know, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart, because they know who they are, because they've made that effort to lift me up. Because even sometimes somebody like me, and you know, that's something very difficult for me to admit, but you know what, there's been times when I've been down and out on my mentally, and then I just push myself physically, but then sometimes physically we break down as well. So it's always good to have a balance. But basically, this guy, Robert Downey Jr., what a life. You know, we all know him as Iron Man, and he was in pretty much all the Avengers, the Iron Man movies, the Spider-Man movie, cameo appearances and all that kind of stuff. You know, wrote himself a really good contract when he signed on for the first Iron Man movie, made himself a multimillionaire. But my guy had bad addiction problems, had a bad upbringing, had nothing going for him as a kid. Was in and out of juvie, was in and out of foster homes, care homes, the projects. Sorry, when I hear certain songs. What a relevant song. Made for now, not tomorrow. Don't wait for tomorrow, it's all about now. Janet Jackson, nice little track that came out about a year and a half ago. Nobody realized it that much. But anyway, the guy was addiction, drugs, alcohol, in and out of prison. They were like, this guy guarantee is gonna like kill himself or harm himself through what he was doing. And you know what, I always say this, some people that, you know, are really good performers or hard workers, the hardest workers in the room, they all have an addiction. And I'll use another example. Floyd, you know what his vice is constantly being in the gym. Like, he loves money, it's all about the money wherever, but his thing is every day he's in the gym regardless. You know, that's his vice. And you know what, it's not done him any bad. With Robert Downey Jr., because of his past addictions and his past issues, he turned to Wing Chun, which is what you'll see when you watch like Sherlock Holmes and some fight scenes and all that kind of stuff in other movies. Like, he turned to that, and I mean, that's a big thing for people. You know, whether we like to admit it or not, at some point in life we are all going to go through some form of addiction, and it's how we deal with that addiction. Because sometimes I'd like to say addiction can be good, but addiction can equally or even more so be detrimental, dangerous, or even threatening to one's life, because it depends what that addiction is and how it's affecting that person and what they do and how they are and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, you know, there's a fine line between habit and routine and addiction. You know, out of habit, you might go to a coffee shop and get a coffee, and it might be part of your routine because every Monday you drive to work and you go past a certain drive-thru and you get your coffee from there. But then look at this lockdown. You know, at some point we've not been able to go out. So some people have whinged and complained about it. Some people have moaned about it. Some people have just gone cold turkey. Some people have invested in a coffee machine. Some people have just started experimenting with different coffees from different, you know, brands. You got to find what works for you. But addiction now, you know, is more prevalent with young people purely because without realizing, they're getting into a habit that leads to addiction. And I know some people are going to go shout, boo, boo. Gaming's always been there, and it's always going to be there. I remember when I was a kid, Mortal Kombat came out, Pit Fighter came out, the first GTA came out, which wasn't nearly as like bad as the ones now, and it was like, oh, it's going to influence young people and all that kind of stuff. If anything, I think it influenced like me and some of my friends to be strong and fit, because you wanted to be like the characters in the game. But when you play games now, you know, there's loot crates, there's gift boxes, there's player packs, and then you've got to buy them, you've got to play for them, and then, you know, that leads to an addiction because you constantly want the next one. And people think it's harmless, but once that's ingrained for you, if you're not that strong up here, then you are potentially going to be more susceptible when you get older to peer pressure, to trying new things, to the drugs, to the alcohol, and then it leads to other new addictions. I mean, time or another podcast. In a nutshell, school is meant to be the best time of your life. And you know what? You know why it can, not for everybody, but for most people or some people, why it can be the best time of your life. Potentially less stress. You're not an adult yet. You're still a young person. Everything's new. New friends, making friends, breaking friends, best friends, maybe a boyfriend, girlfriend. You start discovering who you are. You start learning about the person who you want to become personally, professionally. And there are some fun moments in school. I'll be honest, school wasn't all that bad. I didn't enjoy it that much for a number of reasons, and I can go into that another time. But there was a lot of fun memories, a lot of good times. But I couldn't wait to get out of there, and I couldn't wait to go to college, to reinvent myself, and then just to keep moving forward. But I was so, basically, I had this thing now that I'm in school. Because I'm in school, basically 8:30 till 3 o'clock, 3:30 every day. That's like, 6-7 hours of my life that I'm not going to get back. That's helping me to develop, but essentially it's time I'm never going to get back. So as soon as I'm not in that school environment, I'm going to do anything and everything that I can within a 24-hour period, even if that means sacrificing chilling with friends, going out, parties and all that kind of stuff. Albeit I did do a lot of partying in my heyday. I probably wouldn't do that anymore. Plus the environment's completely different anyway. But I literally at one point was working, studying, volunteering, running a friend of my father's shop, and still finding time to go to the gym and develop my physique. And it kind of just stuck with me. After that, I've always wanted to keep busy. And you know what? The lockdown was a little bit challenging for me initially when it started last year. But at the same time, you know what? It was kind of a little bit like the rest and reset that my mind and body needed, because after hammering away day, morning, noon, night, before work, after work, in between work, lots of sleep, lack of sleep, working, developing, chasing the profession, chasing the dream, trying to be successful, trying to get into acting, businesses, working, PT, boxing, sports development, studying, still doing more courses, still chasing the profession, still trying to develop. It takes a toll, not just on your mind, but on your body as well. And I think for a lot of people, and I realized this a long time ago, we all have this fire inside us a lot of the time when we're younger, and it's this burning desire and passion to want to do something so amazing and exciting, whatever that is, personally, professionally, financially, academically. But sometimes, somewhere along the journey, something happens: accident, illness, emergency, marriage, kids, death, mom, dad, looking after friends, looking after families, and that train kind of stops at that stop. And for sometimes, for some people, it doesn't carry on. And I think this is why a lot of us, especially in in our community, like my community, if you want to call it that, or in the Asian community, again, not for everybody, I'm not stereotyping, but you do see it more. We understand the frustrations and irritations and anger from our parents, because you know what? They were once young as well, and they had that goals, dreams, aspirations and all that kind of stuff, and they put it on hold when the kids came along. So, as you grow up, sometimes your mindset changes, but you know what? At the same time, there's a lot of people out there, their mindset doesn't change. They're still in the same spot. They're still doing the same they were doing 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And this is why I say, you want to see what the road ahead looks like you, then look at what the people you're hanging around with do. Because if the road behind them is still the same as the road now, then guess what? More than likely, it's going to be the same moving forward. I mean, how many friends have you all got? I'm going to start the diet tomorrow. I'm going to start the gym tomorrow. And quite frankly, I'm not being funny. While we've been in the lockdown, there's not been any excuse for anybody not to get fit and active and healthy. I mean, some people have absolutely smashed it. I bumped into a young person that I worked with quite a lot last year. And I'm not joking. He's dropped about, I'd say, 2 stone in a really healthy way over the last maybe 6 months, and he's done it just by walking. No fancy clothes, no tracksuit, no nothing, literally like cowboy boots. Hashtag no lie, and not take a lie, because sometimes things went so fast, didn't have a chance to quite enjoy it. But I've made a lot of friends along the way. I made quite a few quid along the way, and it's a lot of experience. And I can pass that on to you guys, the viewers, or people that are interested in it, because there's always people that are interested that want to get involved in acting or TV work or background work, supporting artists. And I think their perception of it or what they think of it can potentially be completely different to what it actually is. So it's always good to have a heads up about certain fields and stuff. But you know, we're down to the last 10 minutes. Just want to say another big thank you to everybody that's been joining in the last 3 weeks. This is the 4th week of The Real Show with your host, Ashif Ashik. Please feel free and please do so. Like, share and subscribe at Yeti's Kitchen on all the social media handles, and at ashif.ashik on Instagram and all that good stuff. And try and stay positive as well, because you know, if you're always like this miserable, moody face, you know, you're going to become like this. But you know, if you're happy, if you're excitable, unless you're on some drugs, which naughty, we not take the druggy, you know, just be positive, man. You've got one life. You're going to be this age once. Your hair's going to be like this once. Your face is going to be like this once. Your body's going to be like this once. Just do the best you can, be the best you can, and just absolutely smash life as much as you can. You know, if you can afford to go Nando's all the time, fantastic. If you can't, it doesn't matter. Try and make your own Nando's at home. It's simple as that, you know. You just got to be willing to do what needs to be done to get it done. You know, there's so many celebrities that I could talk about that I'm aware of, that I've studied, and you know, the road to success. And you know what, I'll just name them without talking about their journey. But and I know some people are going to be like, oh well, but this is the thing though, these were kind of like people to look up to, people to aspire to, because Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Bruce Willis, Jet Li, Jason Statham, Mr. Bean, Amir Khan, Anthony Joshua, Marcus Rashford, Frank Stallone, Barry Manilow, Olivia Newton-John, Cynthia Rothrock, all these people. Maybe some of you have heard of them, maybe some of you haven't. Chuck Norris. I mean, these are all, like, a lot of them are living legends. And I mean, like, and you know, I've not talked about Bollywood, but I briefly will now, because unfortunately we're down to the last 5 minutes. But I mean, these were the heroes, these were the action stars, the heroes, the people that you look up to in real life, in the movies. And I mean, the only one I can think of now is Dwayne Johnson. I mean, where are all the heroes? Because a lot of these, like, YouTubers and current actors and all that kind of stuff, it's like, who's next? You know, like, you had Bruce Lee. Okay, nobody's ever going to match Bruce Lee. After Bruce Lee, who can we came along? Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan always said he didn't want to be a Bruce Lee. He wanted to be a Jackie Chan. That's why he gave his own spin on it. You had Jet Li. You had Tony Jaa from the Ong Bak movies, and he was in one of the Fast and Furious as well. And he's in the Jiu-Jitsu movie, which is called Jiu-Jitsu, with none other than Nicolas Cage, who I've just realized my head is starting to look a lot like. Jean-Claude Van Damme. After that, who's next? You know, even in Bollywood, like, I'm not being funny, like, I don't know, like, do young people actually watch Bollywood to the level that my age group who were young back then watched as much Bollywood? Like, is it the same amount? But you know, you had your Shah Rukh Khan, who was awesome to a certain point, and yes, I did say that. You know, you had your Sanjay Dutt, you had your Salman Khan, you had your Amir Khan, you had your Akshay Khanna, you had your Arjun Rampal, you had your John Abraham. Okay, but then who's next? Who's coming after that? Like, I don't see it, because all these new guys are like, oh yes, mere pyar ho gaya hai, mujhse pyar ho gaya hai, yes, oh no, drama ho gaya hai, you know. And that's another topic for another day. But we're down to the last 3 minutes. So as always, we're gonna finish with a fun song, and I'm gonna start it straight away. Yes. So this was the 4th week, and hopefully we are going to carry on with the live show. Thank you all for the support, and for everybody for tuning in live and for tuning in after. And as they say, the show must go on, and hopefully it's going to go on with me and you, with The Real Show and other podcasts all about real life, but a song from the legendary Freddie Mercury, and it's called The Show Must Go On. You're not going to get all of it because we only got 2 minutes left. Empty places, what are we living for? Abandoned places, I guess they know the score. On and on. Does anybody know what we are looking for? Another hero, another mindless crime behind the curtain in the pantomime. Hold the line. Does anybody know what we're looking for? Show must go on. Show must go on. Yeah, yeah. Oh, inside my heart is breaking. My makeup may be fading, but my smile still stays on. Whatever happens, I'll leave it all to fate. Another heartache, another failed romance. On and on. Does anybody know what I'm looking for? I guess I'm burning. Really, I'm learning, but I'm getting warmer now. I'll soon be turning around the corner now. Outside the dawn is breaking, but inside the dark I'm waiting to be free. And you know why? The show must go on. Show must go on. Inside my heart is breaking. My makeup may be faking, but my smile still stays on. So that was my really bad, cringy, relevant song for today. Thank you so much to everybody that's been tuning in. Hopefully we will still be catching you next week on The Real Show. I was your host, Ashif Ashik. I hope I'm not upset or offended any of you. And please do remember, I love you all. And also, there's only one thing that's for sure, and that's nothing's for sure. See you later.